Hi, it's Ash from Crack Minis. Today I'm going to be doing some scratch building and a little bit of bead bottery. I don't think that's the right word, but I'm going to go with it. Bead bottery. I'm going to be making a bead bot. It's my first ever bead bot. Never built one before. I hope this goes well. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with the concept of a bead bot, it's pretty simple. It's beads and wires stuck together to make it look like a robot. It's made a pretty big thing on YouTube by this crazy man who lives in his attic. It takes directions from a cat made from cardboard tubes and plastic forks. His name's Bill Making Stuff, and his cat's called Cat. If you're a sub and you keep track of my community page, you'll see that I did some concept art earlier in the just after Christmas, and these are the characters. Well, these are going to be the characters that I'm making right now, and I thought that a bead bot would lend itself really well to the design of the character that I came up with for the robot, the Blade. If anyone wants to know where I got some of these beads that I'm using from, you literally just go onto Amazon and type in beads, and I think it's like the first 4 selections. I've been using them quite a lot for like garnish on my models, so bullet casings, just random little things on shelves and stuff like that. And they lend themselves really well to that, but they're perfect for this. So make use of what you got. Bead bots aren't as easy to make as I expected them to be. A lot of trial and error over this, trying to find the perfect beads to go in the perfect spots. Also, joint placement was hard. Trying to figure out the gaps between, say, the hand and the elbow and the shoulder, thigh to the knee to the ankle. It was very weird with that. I didn't want it to look too cartoonish, especially because I want it to be playable with my other characters. I mean, that's the end goal, really. So jam in a bunch of robots and science fiction characters and monsters and all sorts of other stuff into this one world where I play and create and just enjoy myself. And hopefully at some point other people will be able to enjoy and create things for that world as well. Actually thinking about it, some of my stories have taken place in space. So I guess I'm gonna have to do a spaceship episode at some point. Hopefully I do it sooner rather than later. To be fair, I've been putting it off. Since I've started, I wanted to do a spaceship episode. I'm gonna have to give it a crack. Maybe before the next Turnip 28 concept I make. Because I've had an idea for that. This is on top of the bloatiest episode I have to do. Well, I don't have to do, but want to do. I swear to God, the inside of my head is like an episode of Hoarders. So I apologise for that massive tangent I've just gone on. So back to the build. For the arms, I wanted one of them to have a Buster Sword. So I made it out of a spacer, not a spacer, like a shelf separator thing that you get in drawers. What are they called? Someone will know. I can't think of the name right now, but I will probably shout it out later on randomly once I've worked it out. Alright, so I cut it, and then I cut it at an angle, and I did some trimming with my old mate Stanley. After I'd sharpened it, I took some random bits of plastic and glued them to the non-stabby end to widen it out so it was easier to attach to the wrist, which I then wrapped wire around to hide the seam. That's me doing it right there, you see. So once I had it wrapped around, which actually strengthened the joint because it fell off a few times while I was building it, I started working on the fingers for the other hand because, one hand's a knife, one hand's fingers, grabbing, and stabbing. So at this point I've got like the basic form of the bead bot done, and I want to add flavour to it by using other beads. These ones are for nail art, so like before, just go onto Amazon, type nail art beads. It's usually the first couple, whatever's cheapest. I stuck those on, trying to fill up the big gaps and distract the eye so that it doesn't actually look like it's made of beads and wire. I use these quite often in my other builds as like little steel plates or rivets or like windows or anything really. I mean, whatever you can get away with using them as, I'll use them as that. Might as well put this in here because most people tend to tune off unless they're going to continue watching. At this point in my videos, analytics, yay! But like and subscribe, or don't. See how I get on towards the end if you're watching the whole thing, and then decide there. I had an absolute nightmare trying to make the eye holes with plastic card, so I decided to get a bit of my epoxy sculpt mixed with superfine white on there, make a little face. It's not a very happy face, but it's a face. and also add on some details that I just couldn't get on there with the beads that I was using. So this is the part where I switch over from building my bead bot, which I'd done. The only thing I forgot to film was adding a couple extra rivets, like just to the elbows and on top of the shoulders and like the spine and things like that. You'll see it when I paint it. I hadn't realised till I started editing I hadn't filmed that. And then I switched over to the kit bash. Now for the kit bash, I mostly used GW parts. I mentioned in another video that I bought a big box of bits. Inside it were these like weird little models. I think they're Uruks or something like that. They all had like orc shields with them, so I'm assuming it's like an Uruk or something from Dominion or something, from the Dominion box or whatever. But the torsos were great. Exactly what I needed, because I've got lots of legs, I got lots of arms, I got lots of heads. Just don't really have many torsos, so they were perfect for that. And these Shikatara legs, an apothecary's pistol hand, like the spear one, and the spear I think is from the Uruks as well. And then for the head, I used the head off a Stormcloak Eternal that I chopped the headband off. You know, the headpiece that goes over the top. I accidentally, it seems like it's like giving it proper Doctor Doom vibes, which was completely unintentional. And then I just went with it, found a cape and was like, yeah, that'll go on there as well. I threw on a bunch of tactical pockets, obviously, some bullets, a little skull, tied it all up, finished it off with some clay, and then it's ready for paint, which means it's time for a story. Right, so the story's pretty simple for the most part. So, Arjack and a blade. Okay? Arjack was a twin, and they were captured at a young age and their mother was killed in front of them. They were taken by the Manhunters. Manhunters work for the Great Upcycler. So what the Great Upcycler wants to do is he wants to take humans, add on some robotic parts and turn them into soldiers for this ever-expanding war. Just recycling parts, people, machines, whatever, just throwing bodies to take over the world. Well, Arjack escapes, but his twin brother doesn't. Arjack doesn't know where he is because he's been there so long, he has no way of finding his way home. And he also doesn't want to go home because he doesn't have his brother with him. So it feels like he's going to get blamed for his brother being stuck with the upcycler. And he starts to wander, learning skills and making himself stronger slowly with other parts because he's halfway through the transformation anyway. So he decides to carry on going as long as it's for his benefit, not for the benefit of the upcycler. And he finds this robot just abandoned in the middle of this wasteland. And it's got a knife for an arm. So he starts to fix it. Ever so slowly. I mean, it's got a basic rudimentary AI. And it sort of becomes his friend. It's his only companion. He's lonely. And one day, they hear screams. And him and the blade decide, you know what, we're going to see what this is. To see if we can help anyone. And it's the upcycler. Well, his manhunters. Capturing people. So Arjack picks up this stick and they go fight him and they win. And he finds this gun on one of them and that's his gun, keeps that. And so that's what they decide they want to do. They want to take down the manhunters and free people and help them. What Arjack doesn't know is that his brother is in charge of the manhunters now. I know that story's a bit short for me. I had a little bit of a hard time trying to get it into a cohesive train of thought so that I could build a narrative where I could do a voice that goes with it, but I had that story in my head and I wanted to get it out of there because it feels like it could lead on to something a bit better as I go down. Obviously now I have to make his brother, things like that, because I kind of want to do some villains. I've been doing quite a lot of heroes lately and I want to do some villains. Most of my characters are like neutral or heroic. And I'd like to try nefarious or dastardly. I may as well talk about the thing I don't really like to talk about, which is the painting. I feel like I'm getting a lot better at it. So every time I build something and paint it, I feel like I'm growing, which I think is just to practice alone, because now I've sort of set myself a standard of maybe once every 3 weeks getting something out, which means I'm going to be painting at least once every 3 weeks. And yeah, I think that has helped me like a whole lot, especially with my skill level, because looking at the models that I've done for this build compared to the models I've done for previous ones, there's like leaps and bounds. Quite surprised. And I've been watching a lot more other YouTubers who paint and picking up little things as they go from that. I'm gonna leave some names in the comment section. There's some people that I think would be cool for you to check out. They're doing some really good stuff and some brilliant kit bashers and some brilliant painters as well. Well worth checking out if you do get a chance. Alright, I know I did it before, but I'm going to do it again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I want a big shout out to the subscribers as well. I mean, I'm loving the fact that I can ask questions and you guys can give me answers. This crafting community is fantastic. And it's not even just answers for me, it's answers for other people's questions as well. Like, if I don't know something, you guys know it. You're on the ball all the time. So, big ups to you. And remember, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who subscribes, likes, comments, shares, all that stuff. I love it. And also, keep an eye on my community posts, because I'm going to be doing some polls. I want maybe change some things about the channel as I go forward. And I want your input as well, because your input is important to get your input, because you're part of this as well now. When you subscribe, you're part of the channel. Every voice matters. Right, so riddle me this one, Batman, because you lot very helpful. I'm trying to find a decent beat maker so I can start adding proper music to the background to these videos, because as much as I enjoy non-stop talking, I mean, I do occasionally want to give you guys a break from my voice. If anyone knows of any apps or anything like that I could use that probably help me with this, that's great. It doesn't matter if they cost money, as long as it's not too much. I'm willing to invest a little bit. I'm on a budget, so whatever you guys suggest, I'll have a look into and hopefully get some music sorted for maybe either the next one or the one after. And I'm not talking about the ones where you, like upbeats or anything like that, where you put the information in the bottom of your comments. I want something where I can make my own. I have used upbeats in the past, and all I do is get copyright claims, even though I'm putting the copyright information in the bottom, which will hinder me later on down the line. I want the opportunity to create my own music as well. I wanted to say this just so you know. When I do premieres, I'm always there. I'm always watching it. So if you ever want to chat with me live, that's the best thing to do. Best time to do it. I will respond. I know I respond to most comments as well. But yeah, you want to chat to me live, that's the time. While I've been doing this voiceover, someone has arrived. So I know what the next few videos are going to be. The next one is going to be a spaceship. The following one is going to be a tin of 28. Not Bolitas, because I'm still missing a couple parts from that. But it's going to be cool. And I hope you enjoy it as well, especially if you enjoyed my other tin of 28 stuff. I got you. Alright, this is bringing us towards the end of the video. And it's time for me to say it. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed building. And as Train Byron always says, keep scratching that build. He's one of the guys I've left in the comments down below. And yeah, now it's time to watch it spin.